Now, when I was pondering through the way I was brought up by my parents, by my teachers, how I was shaped and nurtured by them, and the society and the world at large. When I was thinking about you, about the American culture, I know people are feeling so divisive nowadays. And when I was thinking through about the church, I'm a church planter, I saw there were strifes, conflicts, differences in the church, particularly the church. We don't know why. And when I think about the human species in general, do we agree that we are so fragile, so emotional, so quick to change? Now, with all these things, as I ponder and reflect through these realities, I came to the word, where is it? Where's the marker? Can you give me the marker? All right. I came to the word, no, wounded. Let's think through, what does it mean to be wounded? Are we? It's hard to admit that, all right? But let's think through, be perceptive about it. Wounds have driven people apart. Wounds have split churches. Wounds has caused a lot of baggage in us. Wounds causes divorce, it causes hurts, and then the hurts went on between the children and the parents, and then generation after generation. Now, wounds, very wounded in us. And wounds have made us so subjective, so narrow-minded, that a lot of times you realize when a wounded person will only think from his point of view. He refused to see what others see, what others think. It's always about me, myself, and I. And a wounded person will always say things like, you don't know me. You don't understand how I feel. You see, the wife says that to the husband, and the husband says to the wife, and the member says that to the pastor. I'm a pastor. I have people coming to tell me, Pastor Vincent, you don't know how I feel. Yeah, and I have to absorb those wounds. And I have to pray through it. And if I don't pray through it, I will get defensive. Then I will start defending myself and say, who said I didn't think of you? Do you know what I've done for you? You know, your parents always telling you, what have I done for you? You know, I've done all these things for you. No, everyone get defensive, but wounds and hurts just intensify in the midst of that. Do you get what I mean? No, it's the reality of wounds. And so, I want to try to tell you that when we talk about wounds, it's really a deep spiritual problem in us. Because of wounds, we have refused to understand each other. And not only between humans, even between big nations. And when I was in Singapore, I read the news in America and China. I don't know why big nations, they don't understand each other. They're not reading each other. You know, there's a lot of skepticism, enmity, hostility, and hypocrisy, like China and America, you know, that kind of thing. So everyone is just concerned for themselves and what I have gone through. And we want to be given attention to. That's a wounded person. Amen to that? And if some of you say, no, Pastor Vincent, I'm not wounded. I don't care what people think about me, what my parents say about me. I don't care. I am what I am. No, some youths, some young people love to say that. But that doesn't mean you're not wounded. It only means that you are wounded plus numb. You know numb? Numbness. You cannot feel anything. That's why you draw a line and say, I don't care about what people think. But in fact, we're deeply wounded inside. And for numbness to happen on a person, it takes many, many years of grievances, frustration, helplessness. And you come to a point, the person says, that's it, I have enough. So he's being programmed into something called indifference, individualism. So I am what I am. I don't care. So that's the thing about wounds. What I'm saying is, wounds are so latent, so subtle, yet so prevalent, so common in everyone. And one of the last things we want to admit is, I'm wounded. You know, it is so hard for a pastor like me to say, you know, I'm wounded by all of you. I'm wounded by my members. You know, it's so hard for a pastor. It feels so naked. It's so hard for the parents to tell the children, I'm wounded, because it makes me feel so fragile. Now, even if we want to admit that we are wounded, we want to be seen managing it or even overcoming it. Am I right to say that? We don't want to appear weak. Why? But I can tell you that it's not possible to overcome woundedness without the gospel. You know why? You know why? Because wounds, what lies beneath the wounds? Listen up. What is so subtle and so powerful about the wounds is not the wounded attitude and behavior. Now, we always focus on attitude and behavior. Look at that person. Look at that kid. How is he talking to us? He's wounded. Or that person. No, it's not the attitude. What is so powerful about it is something at its roots. What is in the roots, people? What is in the roots? And that is disbelief. What I'm talking about. Wounds always hide in the closet of disbelief. Beneath that